The strategies that I'm gonna share with you will help you increase your sales, which inevitably will increase your reviews also. Imagine a blueprint, a step-by-step guide, a case study where we peel back the curtains and show you what it takes to sell on Amazon. Welcome to the $1 Million Case Study. We've talked about the importance of consistency before. And one of your biggest allies in making this happen is your calendar. Whenever you have an important event, you always put it on the calendar, right? To ensure you never miss it. Treat your business the same way. Even if it's only half an hour or an hour per day, schedule that time in. Otherwise, there's a good chance it'll get pushed to the side and won't happen. This works well for other parts of your life also. Schedule in your personal time, family time, anything that's important to you. So, do this one thing and I guarantee you'll see your consistency and your results skyrocket. In the last episode, we covered product photography, what the requirements are for Amazon, how to do it yourself at home, the different types of images you can have, and even some tips on creating lifestyle photography for your listing. Today, we're gonna talk about how to launch your product. You've created the listing, sent your inventory into Amazon, and now it's time to make some sales. So first, let's understand what our end goal is. Long term, we want our product to be displaying high up in the search results when customers are searching for that product, and then be receiving sales regularly as a result. So building our organic search rankings is one of our biggest goals. And by organic, that just means a free sale as opposed to appearing on a paid search result, which is a whole different topic, which we'll cover a bit later. That's our goal. But where do we begin? Well, when you first launch, you're not going to have high search rankings for your top keywords. Instead, you're gonna be buried on the 20th or 100th page of search results. Really, after the first couple of search pages, you're basically not gonna be discovered by customers who are searching for your product. So how do we change that? Well, the topics that we're gonna cover today will help us do just that. In the early days, before you started making iterations, was there any feedback that you received that was like negative?
Yeah, I mean, it was mixed. There were positive and negative reviews, as always. There always will be. But there were some concerns that I noticed would arise more frequently. And so if I saw that multiple people were complaining about the same thing, then I said, okay, this is something that I need to take action with, and I need to see if the supplier can fix this. One of them was in the waist trainer, like the bones, because they were made from plastic, they would snap. So what we eventually did was would swap the plastic bones for flexi steel bones. So the steel bones wouldn't snap. So we made modifications like that, but again, that took some time to actually implement.
So the first thing to understand is how our search rankings are improved. Amazon has an advanced algorithm that determines this, and they don't necessarily disclose all the different factors that they consider. However, they have left some clues behind. But in order to keep this very simple for you, the main thing that will impact your search rankings is getting sales. The more sales you make, especially after someone has typed in a specific keyword, this tells Amazon that your product is relevant for that keyword, and then they're going to bump up your listing on that page of search results. So the number one thing that we need is sales. And how do we get those? Well, I'm gonna share a number of ways to get your product listing displayed in front of customers and make it as attractive as possible for them to buy. Because it's one thing to have customers see your product, but then you also need them to choose your product over all of the other competition next to it. This is what we call a conversion rate, the number of people who purchase your product out of those who have seen it. So it's important to improve this number. Then how do we do that? Well, one of the big influences of this is the number and quality of your reviews. Imagine a time that you've made a purchase on Amazon. You likely typed in what it was that you were after. Then you probably compared the top listings against each other, maybe looking at the images. But also I'd wager that you looked at the number of reviews and how high those star ratings were. Imagine if your listing has 3 reviews and the one next to it has 1,000 reviews, then it's gonna be quite difficult to compete with that listing, and most people would choose that one that has a lot more social proof and reviews. This is why it's tough to launch a brand new product, because you're starting from scratch with 0 reviews. So to summarize, the most important factors when launching a new product are sales and reviews. So next, I'm gonna cover the best strategies to help get both of these. Keep in mind that getting reviews is a little harder to control, and Amazon is very strict on you not manipulating people to give you reviews. However, the strategies that I'm gonna share with you will help you increase your sales, which inevitably will increase your reviews also. It's basically a numbers game. The more sales you get, the more reviews you get. But these strategies combined will also improve the likelihood of someone leaving you a review. So let's dive in. The first strategy that we're gonna cover is directly inside of Seller Central, and that's called the Early Reviewer Program. Just head to Advertising, Early Reviewer Program. This program encourages customers who have already purchased your product to share an authentic review of it. You don't have any contact with these customers, but instead Amazon incentivizes them with a $1 to $3 gift card if they do leave a review. While this has been a popular program in the past, Amazon has recently announced during the making of this episode that they're closing the program as they believe there are better ways to get reviews. Hopefully this means we get a replacement program in the near future. Next up, I'll show you another strategy to help you get more reviews using Jungle Scout's review automation feature. Around the end of 2019, Amazon introduced a new button within Seller Central to help you increase your reviews. So from your orders page, you would need to open up an individual order, click Request Review, and then a couple of clicks later, Amazon would send a request to that customer for a review. This was definitely a game changer, and a lot of people started seeing a significant increase in the number of reviews that they received as a result. The trouble, of course, is that you could only do one order at a time, and it was a very manual process to go through each and every order. So in early 2020, here at Jungle Scout, we introduced a new feature of our extension tool that displayed a new orange button on the orders page, which at the click of a button would automate all of these clicks of all the orders on that page. So instead of spending like 10 seconds every single order clicking through multiple times, you would just need to click once on this order page. Now, some of the criteria for orders to be eligible are that they're between 4 to 30 days old. They also couldn't be refunded or anything like that, but Jungle Scout was able to know exactly which ones were eligible, so you didn't have to worry about any of that. You just have to come in every few days and click the button to request any newer reviews. But what I'm gonna be sharing with you today is even easier still. Today, you don't even need to worry about going into Seller Central. Instead of clicking that one button every few days, you can now toggle on one button within Jungle Scout, and we will completely automate the requesting process for all of your orders, all the time. So we made an easy step even easier. So if you are a Jungle Scout member, then I'd highly recommend you come into Marketing, Review Automation, and simply turn it on. We'll do the rest for you. Here you're gonna see all of your eligible orders, as well as the number of requests that have been sent out. You can even see how much time you've saved as a result of not clicking all of those buttons yourself. So review automation is the second strategy that I'd recommend to improve your reviews.
What were the steps like in
starting to build out that brand? Because I guess initially it was just a product you were selling on Amazon.
Initially, I launched that product, which was a waist trainer. I'm very open about sharing what products I sell on Amazon. It was a waist trainer and I private labeled that product. So I took it exactly the way it was from the supplier and I sold it on Amazon. I didn't even change the packaging. The packaging didn't have my brand name, my logo, nothing. I took it exactly how it was from the supplier because at this point, this was my third product and it was the most expensive product that I had sold to date. And so I didn't want to invest any extra money on packaging or design or any of that because I was still kind of like tight in terms of how much I wanted to invest in the business. So each time I would place an order with the supplier, I would modify something small that was like, yes, I had to pay more for that modification, but it was usually pennies on the dollar. And it helped differentiate my brand from others on Amazon. And what that change was dependent on what the feedback was from my customers. So whether it was like the boning of the waist trainer, adding extra steel bones, making the clasps bigger, adding another color, adding a different pattern. Eventually, I started to change the packaging. That was kind of the last thing I did because I did want to improve the customer's experience and build, I want to position my brand as a premium brand. And obviously I need to have nicer packaging for that. Ultimately, after all of these modifications, the product became unique. And now on Amazon, there's nobody else that's selling an identical product to what we sell. It is unique to our brand.
Next, we'll talk about another program on Amazon, and that is the Vine program. This is where you can offer your product for free to the top reviewers on Amazon that are very likely to leave you a review. And these are reviewers that are well known for leaving lengthy, detailed reviews. Now, this was a program that wasn't available to everyone initially. However, in the last year or two, Amazon has opened it up to FBA sellers as well. Now, in order to be eligible, you do need to be brand registered. Your product needs to have 30 or less reviews, be an FBA listing, already be launched, have available inventory, have an image and a description on it, and it can't be an adult product. Now, if you meet this criteria, then you can enroll. So you'd head to advertising, Vine. To start, you enter the ASIN of your product, which you can get from the Inventory Manage Inventory screen. Click Begin Enrollment. Now you can offer up to 30 units, which will be available for Vine reviewers to claim for free. Now, it might seem crazy to be offering these completely for free, but what you need to keep in mind is that these are the top, most trusted reviewers on Amazon that, again, leave lengthy, detailed reviews. These reviews do tend to carry more weight from the perspective of a customer. They'll actually see a little badge that says it was written by a Vine Voice reviewer. Also, the percentage of reviews that you receive back is really high in this program. While Vine reviewers aren't required to leave reviews, a large number of them do, and this is why sellers continue to use this program. So once you've nominated how many units you wish to enroll, you then just sit back and wait for them to be claimed by the reviewers. Again, you can't expect reviews from every single person. However, it's very likely that most of the claimed products will result in a review. So I do also recommend the Vine program. You'll start to see this common thread of just doing anything and everything that improves your chances of getting reviews. This is the toughest section of your product's lifespan, getting off the ground and getting a healthy number of reviews. It definitely is a bit of a grind. It can feel frustrating and feel very slow during this stage, but stick with it because once you break through this, the sales are gonna come in much easier. So that brings me to the next strategy to increase your sales and consequently reviews, and that is your pricing. Of course, price is a big influencer on purchasing decisions, so a popular strategy when you're first launching a product is to drop your price in order to attract more buyers. Now, I've said this before when it comes to pricing, that long-term, you don't want to be competing on price. You don't want that to be your competitive advantage. The reason being that if your competitors then drop their price to match you, then eventually both of you keep lowering your prices to compete with each other and then no one takes home any profits. So I wanna make sure that you understand that what I'm talking about here is lowering your price temporarily in order to generate some sales at the beginning. There's not a set period of time. It might be a few weeks, it might be a month. It really just depends on how it goes for your particular product. Now, how do you determine your price point? Well, this is where I'd go back to the Jungle Scout profit calculator that I've talked about in a previous episode. You can access it from the extension. You wanna make sure that you're running it on your own listing. This is so that it pulls in the accurate Amazon fees that you pay for your product. If you didn't have your listing up yet, then you could run it on a competitor product. Just make sure that it has a similar weight and size so that the fees should be pretty close to yours. From the extension, click on the net amount to bring up the calculator, then enter the sales price that you're considering, then add in your product cost, making sure to include your per unit shipping cost in this amount, then calculate profit. My rule of thumb here is to go down as low as you can whilst still breaking even or having a couple of dollars to spare. What you wanna make sure of is that this price is reasonably lower when compared to the competition in order to make sure that it's compelling enough to draw customers' attention. If you find that this break-even price is way lower than anyone else, then you could still bump it up a little bit in order to bring home a few dollars extra profit, but still be priced competitively to everyone else. But if you do need to, you can use this as sort of a ground level where you're still breaking even at the least. Now you can set this as your price, but you still need to draw attention to your listing because if no one sees it, then it doesn't matter how low you price it. This is where combining a low price with Amazon advertising can really come in handy. You can use something called sponsored product ads, and that essentially allows you to show up on any keyword that you choose or that you let Amazon choose for you. This means that you can appear here at the top of the search results, and then having that low price when compared to all the competition here may get customers to buy your product over theirs. It gives you the best chance when competing against these other listings that already have a healthy number of reviews. Advertising on Amazon is a whole topic in of itself, so we're gonna spend the next episode going through how to set this up, but we also have other videos on our channel to help you learn how to get started too. Now, jumping back to the profit calculator, having your break-even price here is super helpful, but if you can, I would aim to have at least a couple of dollars profit here if possible. The reason being is to allow some budget for the ads to run. They are likely going to cost more to begin with until you get more reviews. So if you can have a few dollars here up your sleeve, that will help negate some of that extra cost. Now, there's another slightly different way to achieve a similar effect to this, and that's using Amazon coupons. To access these, go to advertising, coupons, then create coupons. So this allows you to offer either a dollar amount or percentage off coupons on your product. The advantage of these is that they stand out quite well on Amazon. So for instance, instead of offering a low price of $15, you might price at $20, but add a $5 off coupon to your product. The final amount to the customer ends up being the same. However, the coupon may just catch their attention a little better. Both of these strategies work. I'd say test out each one and see which one gives you more sales. A couple of notes on setting up coupons. First, you add your ASIN or SKU, add to coupon, then you choose the discount amount. I like to use money off rather than percentage off because then the customer knows immediately how much they're saving rather than them having to calculate how much 5 or 10% off is. You can choose to limit the redemption to 1 per customer, which I normally do. Even if a customer purchases multiple times, they can only leave 1 review in the end, so I'd rather that discount go to someone else that can leave a review. This also detracts from anyone trying to buy up lots of low price products and then resell them for a profit. As a quick side note, that can happen, but I honestly wouldn't worry too much about it, especially as we're limiting it to 1 redemption per customer. So I don't really see that being much of an issue. Next, you then set the budget, which I have always found a little confusing as it requires you to do a bunch of math. So the budget includes the amount of discount that you're offering, as well as a 60-cent charge per unit. So back when I was comparing it earlier to just selling at a lower price, if you do use the coupon strategy, it does cost you an extra 60 cents per unit. It's not a huge amount, but do keep that in mind when you're planning this all out. I would work backwards to figure out what your budget is. Let's say I want to offer $5 off per unit, and I'm willing to offer this on, let's say, 50 units. So that works out to be $250. Then there's also 50 times 60 cents equaling $30 for a total of $280. Now, Amazon says they will deactivate your coupon once 80% of your budget has been utilized. With the remaining 20%, they set that aside in case any customers have clicked on and clipped your coupon but haven't actually checked out yet. They want to make sure that they honor the coupons for those customers. So that's what this extra 20% buffer is for. On the next step, you choose a title. You can choose a specific group of customers to target. I normally leave it at everyone. And then you set the duration for the coupon to run anywhere between 1 to 90 days. I normally run it for about a week, but it's really up to you. On the last page here, review all the information and submit when you're ready. Usually your coupons will become active within a few hours. So that's how you set up Amazon coupons. Whether you choose to try these out or just go with a lower price to start with, both these strategies work best when combined with Amazon advertising. Lastly, I want to talk about budgeting. I know people often get nervous about either giving away their products for free or selling it at a low break-even price or even at a small loss. What you need to understand is that this is part of the process. Again, you've got no reviews to begin with, and you're on page 100 of the search results. So you need to be willing to spend some money upfront in order to market your product and get enough sales and reviews until the point that customers can trust your product and begin buying your product more regularly at the normal intended price. If you don't do this at the start, what a lot of people find is that they end up getting stuck on that 100th page and they just don't get any sales or any sort of forward momentum. So be willing to make this push at the start to get your listing started. So what I'd recommend doing here is to allocate a marketing budget. Maybe it's $500. That way, if you end up losing $1 or a couple of dollars per unit by the time that you factor in the discount as well as the advertising, rather than just feeling like you're losing money, you'll understand that you're actually just using up your marketing dollars that you've already allocated and that this is just part of the process of launching your product. I've certainly found this a helpful way to look at this. So that covers how to launch a product on Amazon. One strategy that used to be very popular that I didn't talk about today is offering product giveaways. Here you would offer a different type of coupon and the customer would actually purchase your product on a third-party deals website rather than on Amazon directly. These used to be quite effective, however, they aren't as effective today. Another way that sellers would try to get reviews was by creating these little insert cards that go inside the product packaging itself, encouraging customers to leave a review. Now, these have always been a little bit of a gray area when it comes to Amazon's terms of service, and Amazon is very strict on the wording that you can use on these. So couple that with the fact that it's really hard to even tell how effective these are anyway. I personally wouldn't add insert cards to my top list of strategies. The strategies that I have covered today are what I would recommend as the most effective. So now over to you. Which of these strategies are you gonna try out first? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, remember, if you're following along and wanting to build your own Amazon business, then I'd recommend you join the $1 Million Case Study Challenge. The first steps are joining our private Facebook group. Each week, you'll receive action items so that you can follow along and be building your own business. The link is in the description. Also, visit Jungle Scout if you'd like to see how our leading all-in-one platform can help you sell on Amazon. We have an array of tools from helping you find a product all the way to managing your business. For instance, try out review automation, the easiest way to encourage extra reviews. You can set it up in under 30 seconds, so just head in, turn it on, and we'll do the rest. If you'd like to see Jungle Scout in action, then check out the link in the description for a free live demo. In the next episode of the $1 Million Case Study, we're going to dive into Amazon advertising, learn exactly how to set up your first campaigns and how to take advantage of Amazon's powerful PPC platform. It's going to be a great episode. I will see you there. No one ends up taking home any profits. Itchy nose. A couple of notes on setting up coupons. A couple of notes.
Didn't get that.
Shush.
Could you try again?
No, thank you.
Okay.